I feel like Mike Jordan. Give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Big League Chicago. We got Eric here. Eric, how's it going, bro?
What up, Rick? I'm okay, man. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think I sunk into a new low in my alcohol drinking and with the twisted teas, man. So the worse that the Bears get, I guess the worse my drinking habits become.
Dude, I feel that. And I'm kind of the same way right now. I got some seltzers in my little fridge here, my little mini fridge next to it. And but yeah, dude, it's been a rough go. And honestly, let's just get into it. Bears lose to the Vikings 19-13. We talked last week after a very, very great win against the Washington Commanders. And this was coming off a tough loss against the Broncos, in which the offense looked to be like clicking 2 games in a row. We're like, okay, this is going to kind of be like last year where Eric didn't like that one, where the offense looked like, okay, we're going to have this stretch of games where this offense looks good and Getsy's going to be looking good towards the end of the season, this and that, blah, blah, blah. We get into this game against the Vikings, and the Vikings do not have a good defense, and Getsy absolutely shit the bed here in this game. 13 points, 2 field goals in the second quarter, and then they didn't score again until the fourth quarter. And at that time, they're already in like panic mode, I guess, in a sense, to really try to get a touchdown to win the game. Getsy did Justin Fields no favors in this first half of the game. To me, it seemed like the run was working, and this is with Deontay Foreman and Darrington Evans. Darrington Evans was on a practice squad in Miami, and we picked him up from that practice squad, signed him here. He was here on the Bears last year, but we're able to run the ball effectively with our 4th string and a practice squad pickup. Even Blasingame, our fucking fullback from last week, we were able to run the ball effectively there, and somehow Getsy was trying to force the ball through Fields, through the air. It wasn't happening. The Vikings defense, to their credit, I think they are number 1 in blitzing percentage in the league, put a lot of pressure on Fields, could not get any sort of passing game rhythm going. And the Bears ended up losing 19-13, and that's kind of my overall thoughts. We'll get into some specifics here in a bit. Is that pretty much what you saw too?
Yeah. I'm going to try to look at this glass half full, right? Let me be optimistic. Let me be excited, because obviously for the last week and a half before Sunday, we were all pretty on the Bears high, right? Mm-hmm. We were all pretty excited what we've seen, even though one of them ended up being a loss. But we liked what we saw coming out of the offense out of 7 out of the 8 quarters. But let me give credit to the defense and the special team, which was kind of like the difference in this game too, as well, for the Chicago Bears. That could have made a difference, right?
Yep.
The defense only gives up 12 points. Any defense in this league that gives up only 12 points, you were basically winning 90% of the games. Mm-hmm. The other 10% is called the Chicago Bears. And you're right. I don't know what was the difference between the last 2 games and this one. I don't know what it was, but I knew we were going to have a long day ahead of us. First snap of the game. I forgot who it was from the Vikings. Just clear run right at Justin Fields, bro. That ended up the first play of the second. I kind of noticed something. There's a little trend when it comes to Justin Fields, right? And this kind of worries me a little bit. If Fields if he gets hit early, super early in the game, his confidence levels is at all-time low. Yeah, and I think he sees something completely different than what we don't see. Obviously, they say in most of the games, like the last 2 games, Justin Fields found DJ Moore, in these little seams, these little opens right away. And then yesterday, he held on to the ball a lot longer, because I feel like he's just his confidence is not there. He's afraid of getting hurt, or he wants to do that, or he sees something, or he feels the pressure a lot more sooner than usual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I noticed about Justin Fields, and I think also Luke Getsy. You're right. He didn't help Justin Fields at all, as Justin Fields didn't help himself too as well. I think there's a little bit of blame going on for both of these guys. It wasn't a great game plan. Running game was good. I mean, that's basically the synopsis of the Bears' offense. If the running game goes good, the passing game should go great too, or goes good along with it too. That didn't happen. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because not only it feels like we lost twice yesterday. We're going to speak about it a little later, but losing the game and also losing Justin Fields with a dislocated thumb too as well with MRI.
Yep.
It just feels like a bigger blow than usual. And again, Luke Getsy just let down Matt Eberflus. I think he called a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great a decent offensive line, but they got somewhat to Kirk Cousins, right? They made Kirk Cousins a little bit uncomfortable back there, and you could see with the secondary coming back, with Jalen Johnson coming back, with Jaquan Brisker coming back. Yes, they didn't have Justin Jefferson, but they still held out their own, man. 12 points. They only gave up 12 points, and they still couldn't come up with a W.
Yeah, and like you said, credit to Matt Eberflus because that defense for 2 weeks in a row now has looked. I mean, it looked better yesterday. It looked good against the Commanders, right? And it looked better yesterday against the Vikings. And yes, again, you mentioned Justin Jefferson was not there, but they still have Jordan Addison, Alexander Madison. While he's had a down year, I just don't think he's a feature back really. Now that you look at him in this role, but he was still, someone from the last couple of years who was still doing well as a running back. And you still have Kirk Cousins who puts up big fucking numbers, right? I mean, when you look at maybe primetime Kirk, not really, but Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson were the best quarterback wide receiver duo in terms of like yards and stuff or whatever that was. So you still got Kirk Cousins there, puts up numbers. He could have easily probably put up 300 plus yards if the defense was not called correctly as Matty Eberflus was doing. You had TJ Edwards, an offseason addition, had I think like 8 tackles, 1 for loss, and he had a sack. Jack Sanborn was all over the place. Jaquan Brisker, like you said, we had him back. Kyler Gordon back. Jalen Johnson was batting passes down.
Tremaine Edmonds with an interception.
And even
and should have gotten a fumble recovery, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And even Jackson, Eddie Jackson, even though he got out towards the end of the game, he was still, making some stuff happen. This defense with all the returning players and even with some of the players who've been there, namely the 4-man front there, we're getting stuff done. We're getting pressures. We're getting sacks. We're just making it uncomfortable, like you said, to Kirk Cousins. And Matt Eberflus called a great defensive game, and yet the offense, something we thought was going to be the best part of this game, just stuttered. And I want to really focus on the line here, and especially Cody Whitehair and especially Lucas Patrick, because Cody Whitehair, his snapping is absolutely atrocious. And the fact that we were used to that for years prior to this, to what Lucas Patrick has done. Lucas Patrick is no amazing center out of nowhere either, right? Like he's got his issues, blocking being one of them. But the offensive line for running the ball was so effective. Probably one of the better offensive lines rushing the ball in the NFL this year. But pass protection, and yes, they were blitzing, but pass protection was the weakest point of this offensive line. And that's with Tevin Jenkins back. That's with most of their starters, Nate Davis and an offseason acquisition as well. But, like, these guys got to figure it the fuck out, man.
Yeah, when everybody's healthy, I think we've seen a lot throughout the last couple of weeks, at least. When everybody's healthy and with a decent center, this offensive line can become something, right? It was a tough day all around. I think everybody in the offensive line had a tough day, from Darnell Wright to Braxton Jones to Nate Davis. And unfortunately, he got hurt. Obviously, you mentioned Lucas Patrick, and also Cody Whitehair. It just seems like they were just overwhelmed. And obviously, if Justin Fields doesn't see that on the field, I'm surprised Luke Getsy doesn't even see that on the sidelines too as well. And that's the one thing that's damning to it all. That's like you see, like you saw most of the game. The Vikings came in with 5-6 players at a time, right?
Yeah.
Everything seemed to close down around Justin Fields quickly, and his decision making wasn't that quick as it was the last couple of weeks. But you also saw with a formidable pass rush last week against Washington. I mean, this defense can hold their own, right? But Washington doesn't blitz that much simply because their players can get to them. Those front four can get
Yeah,
to their players, but
there's a lot of talent there.
a lot of talent there. But yesterday was a whole different story. Like there was a reason why Brian Flores kept sending 6, 7 players at a time because he knew that Justin Fields was going to be uncomfortable, and he knew, and he kind of smelt it too, that they weren't doing anything to adjust.
Hmm.
Even the snaps were wrong. He still sent out 5, 6 at a time. Everything was just wrong for the offensive line, and that was just a bad overall effort from that O line. And an O line that let's be honest, Rick, an O line
Hmm.
that really was probably one of the better units coming into this game yesterday, and they just had a
Yeah,
stinker.
yeah. They looked they yeah, they just looked bad.
It just
Again, the
looked bad.
running.
It was just one of those days, man. It was one of those days yesterday for the Bears. Unfortunately for the offense side of the ball, because that defense, like I mentioned, had a good game. Had it Matt Eberflus called a good game to keep it sort of kind of close for the offense to do something. Never happened.
Hmm. And to go into Fields, right? It was dislocated his thumb after the
Mm.
opening drive, I think in the third quarter into the second half.
Hmm.
Didn't return to the game, questionable to return, and then finally was they told us that he's not going to return to the game. So now he's questionable for the Raiders next week, which dislocated them. Okay, I get it, especially it being on his throwing hand. It sucks. I mean, we look at that as normal people, and we're like, I'm out for 2 months with a dislocated
Yeah,
thumb. Like we got Justin Fields and other athletes like popping it back in and just being like, put me out there. But they took caution with him, and a lot of us were kind of like, oh fuck, Justin Fields is going in the blue tent. Damn it, right? Like you don't want to see that. So
hmm
what happens? They bring in Tyson Bagent. Completed 10 passes for 83 yards. Was getting the ball out quick. Got DJ Moore involved. Got a lot of the other weapons, receivers and stuff. He got them involved a lot quickly while he was out there. The only shitty thing is he let up a fumble six. He gave up an interception at the end during the
hmm
2-minute drill that they were trying to get down the field in order to score to win the game. Tyson Bagent rushed for a touchdown, his first ever, but I mean, he was someone who stuck out in preseason for Bears fans, and someone we were like week 1, week 2, we're like put Bajan in, right? Like that's how our fans'
crazy.
minds work, right? Like
That's
that we
crazy.
want Bajan in, which is insane. But tough first start, and on a 1st and 10, you're going down the field and you throw it. You not only do you throw it to the end zone and DJ Moore, but you underthrow it like
Hmm
badly. I don't even think it was tipped or anything. At first, I thought it was a tip because it looked like a fucking
Nah, it
punt.
was it was badly underthrown. I
Yeah,
think, but also at the same time, the wind was kind of against him at that
that's
time too, as well, if
true.
I'm not mistaken.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
that also can be a factor too as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, hell, you mentioned it. Bajent with 2 turnovers, Justin had 1. I mean, the turnover battle was won by the Minnesota Vikings, which can win you the games too as well. But again, he just came in as a reliever, first time ever in the NFL. Obviously, his heart was probably going a million miles an hour. Excited to go. Nerves were through the roof.
Yeah.
It was expected, right? But he settled in. He settled in pretty good. But the difference that I saw is that ball just came out quick from Bajan. Like if again, I'm trying to look at the positives for the Chicago Bears in
Yeah.
yesterday's loss against the Vikings, and Bajan looked like he's formidable for the job simply because how quickly the ball just came out. 1, 2, 3, let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, let's go. Right. And unfortunately, he did throw that interception. It is what it is. It's part of the game, but the Bears needed to go for the touchdown. They needed to be aggressive.
Yeah.
With time running down. I thought it was a little bit too early for them
Hmm.
to go that aggressive down the field with a
Hmm.
timeout left to go in their back pocket. I think they needed to get a little bit more closer within the 30s. But it is what it is. I'm not the offensive coordinator, and to be completely honest, I didn't see nothing from a rookie quarterback, first ever appearance with 18 passes. I didn't really give too much stock into it because we're gonna find out probably this Sunday against the Raiders when he comes.
Yeah.
I believe he's going to play. where I'm gonna give my full analysis on him, but I think he just came in and did an okay job. It's just at the end of the day, a rookie mistake, and you're gonna get that with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, and we got to remember this guy's undrafted. This guy comes from Shepherd
Yeah.
University, where he broke records for touchdown passes, which is worth
Yeah.
something. And the fact that he's
I mean,
starting,
he played all 4 years.
yeah, and the fact that he's in an NFL game, passing to DJ Moore, passing to Cole Kmet, passing to Mooney, all these guys in the NFL have been there for a few years now. It says something about Bajan, which is impressive to all of that in its own. And I'm glad you're kind of looking on the bright side because I'm just heated, bro. I'm glad we got Eric here looking on the bright side because Eric and I probably, compared to Tony Football, are probably the more positive outlookers for the Bears. But and then some more positivity on this side because again, we don't know exactly who's going to start next week for the Bears against the Raiders. It may be,
All right, that's right.
it may be, yeah, because he is doubtful. He's doubtful, but I think in terms of being doubtful, I think that's kind of a no for Justin Fields. I would rather see Bajan in just to kind of get a better look at him and analysis too, like you're saying. Why not? Why not throw him in there? I mean, we've already lost this game to the Vikings. We're already 1-5. What harm does it do to keep Justin sidelined for an extra week with a dislocated thumb and see what Bajan has? But to stay on the positivity side, back to the defense because this was the best part of it all. Only gave up 200 total yards, 15% success rate on third down for the Vikings, and that's all because of the defense, right? Because of the pressure, all that stuff. Only 19 points, again, 20 points to the to the Commanders last week, 19 points now. You're starting to see this unit
12, right?
I mean
12
or 12, yeah, sorry, 12 points really, because that last one was on the offense on a fumble 6. So 12 points. You're starting to see this unit actually become maybe a little bit more cohesive, playing a little bit better to their abilities. TJ Edwards is a guy who's getting tackles all over the field, and that's, I don't think he's gonna stop doing that. I think that's just who he is as a linebacker, right? And then you got guys like Jaquan Brisker. He is a dog on defense. He is an absolute dog on defense. Jalen Johnson, absolute dog. Eddie Jackson, has his issues. Had a really a resurgence last year and has been playing well ever since. Kyler Gordon, jury's still kind of out on him, but I think he's more of like one of those like nickelback type of guys. And then Tyreek Stevenson also had a really good game. I think either he had like a pass deflection, whatever it was. He was kind of all over the field as well.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see these guys really kind of do what they're supposed to do. DeMarcus Walker, Ngakoue, Gervon Dexter Sr., our rookie from Florida, is like you see his name pop up. You see him putting pressure. So this defense is starting to look a little bit better, and it's kind of what we were hoping to do. And this is also kind of cool to see these last 2 weeks, but now that Eberflus has hired a new guy named Phil Snow, who was a Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator for the last 3 years, 2020 through 2022. Do you see this? This guy. I mean, the defense for the Panthers was actually pretty good in those years. Like, not bad when you look at it, right? Their offense trash, defense not bad. But with Eberflus calling the plays as he has been the last 3 weeks, Phil Snow coming from a Panthers defense who had some really good guys there, young guys like Burns, for example. They're at defensive end. Do you think he could continue this? Do you think this defense can continue to improve the way they have over the last 2 weeks?
You know what? It's a good question you mentioned that too, because I know a lot of people today, or at least not a lot of people, but there's been a few rumblings coming out today about the trade deadline coming up in the next couple of weeks, and where the season is already heading for the Chicago Bears, you're going to maybe see a few trades from the Bears. There might be sellers once again to get some draft capital back, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to bring in the negative spin to it, but to keep it on the positive side, right? Look, the one thing that this team lacked the first 3-4 games was effort. Was the pride of being an NFL player, was just the effort based, it was basically an effort based performance that the Bears lacked throughout on both sides of the ball, right? And you could tell that once Eberflus kind of took over and started to change a little bit, and they kind of grew together a little bit, right? And especially when you had players coming back. Now, yesterday they look pretty decent. They look resilient enough to keep Kirk Cousins. Now, again, we say there was no Justin Jefferson. Okay, great, and I know that's a big part of their offense, right? I'm not a big believer in Kirk Cousins. I think he is probably as mediocre as it get. I'm talking about there's 32 teams in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is 16.
But he's such a nice guy. He shops at Kohl's.
I don't give a rat's tootie, bro, how nice that guy is. Like, can you win me football games? Kirk Cousins could give you the bare minimum, and that's it. Yeah. Whatever the bare minimum is, give you 4,000 yards, throw touchdowns here or there, become a very reliable quarterback. Okay. But that's it. Like, what the bare minimum of an NFL quarterback is, that is Kirk Cousins. With all that being said, it's just it's another missed opportunity and another reason why the Bears are getting in this situation, man, where they might trade some people, right? Jalen Johnson, I think he came out today. Let me get that quote that I saw. He said there was like the Bears trading away Jalen Johnson, right? Possibly being traded. He's like 100%. He said, "I'd be a fool if I didn't. I'm not oblivious and not exempt. If you can trade Roquan, you could trade Robert Quinn. You could trade anybody away." That was his quote, asking him if he was going to be on the trading block for the Chicago Bears, and which is true. You guys got to remember, is Jalen Johnson kind of a top 10 cornerback, top 15 cornerback? Probably not. But he's the best that the Bears have at that cornerback position.
I think he's top half of the league in terms of quarterback.
I think so too. I think again, top 15, Jalen Johnson's up there somewhere, right?
I think so, yeah.
Within the 11 to 14 range. But again, like everything, it doesn't matter who it is, man. They just have to show the effort that they were willing to be here in the NFL and playing the NFL game and being part of a very minuscule percentage of being a professional player, no matter what sport you play. And I've seen the effort in the last couple games. I like it. The defense is getting healthier again. Players are coming back. So yeah, I could probably see this little upspin helping out the Bears.
Yeah.
They just need a finish, man. And that defensive line, no matter what positivity we could talk about, man, that defensive line front, bro, like once they got to get to the quarterback, man, once they're with the quarterback, once they smell what the quarterback is wearing, bro, you got to bring them down, man. And then that's the one thing that's kind of like upsetting me about all this. Like they get there, they just can't finish.
Yeah, 100%. And we got Bobby in the chat saying, don't forget, Vikings were without top wide receiver, 100% with Jefferson. I still don't see quarterback sacks nor hits. Got to be better. And they had 2 sacks yesterday, but like you said, the main thing is finishing the game with 2 more sacks. Not letting them get that touchdown pass to Jordan Addison. Not letting Kirk Cousins throw for more yards, right? Like just having to dump it down to Hawkinson again, having to dump it down to Madison, having to dump it down to Cam Akers, something, right? Like something where you're putting Kirk Cousins in an uncomfortable position. Not just Kirk Cousins, Russ Wilson in week 4, right? Like last week.
Baker Mayfield week 2.
Baker Mayfield week 2. Best example was Baker Mayfield. They were out there week 2. People were like, God damn, Baker Mayfield looks good. Baker Mayfield looks like the Cleveland Browns year 1. It's like, what? Like, how are we doing this?
It looked like what's his name? Patrick Mahomes. It was in a Buccaneers uniform and whatnot.
Yeah. Falling down, quick little side pass. Like it's true. They have to be able to finish. And like, you said something interesting about them having, probably going to be trading away some pieces, trying to get some draft capital. On the defensive side, because on the offensive side, I don't really see anybody going. I mean, they gave up a ton for DJ Moore. That's their best offensive weapon they have. He's 100% staying.
They just signed Cole Kmet. He's staying. Justin Fields still has another year left on his rookie deal. Darnell Mooney, I think, signed an extension for 3 years or so last year or something like that. I thought he was a free agent after this year.
Let
me look at it. I'm gonna look at it right now. Hold on.
So their best offensive weapon is someone who they traded the number 1 overall pick for. They're not going to get rid of him. But then, like you said, you look at the defense. You get rid of Roquan, you get rid of Robert Quinn, you you can 100% get rid of Jalen Johnson. And if Tyreek Stevenson continues his upward trend as he has been, maybe we have, a top cornerback here soon with Tyreek. We got a good safety in Jaquan Brisker. Eddie Jackson can be a veteran leader in that locker room and can still produce. He gets injured a lot though, so I don't know if anybody's going to want him anyway. Regardless, Kyler Gordon, good nickelback. We need another cornerback if we do get rid of Jalen Johnson, but next man up. Terrell Smith is a rookie too that we got. He did really well last week against the Commanders. So we've got a next man up sort of mentality right now in the defense too. But like you said, you can trade away Ngakoue. You can trade away if you want DeMarcus Walker, you could trade away Jalen Johnson. Like, you could trade away a lot of people, and they're going to try to get draft capital. With that being said, though, the draft capital talk, one of the questions, I guess, going forward. The Panthers are still winless. Currently have the number 1 overall pick, which the Bears have from them. And they probably will still have the number 1 draft pick overall next
whether
year's
it's
draft.
from them or from the Bears.
Exactly. At the end of the year, one of these guys is going to have the number 1 overall draft pick. It's still, I don't want to say it's still super early, but it's only, we're only a third of the way through the season, right? Justin Fields, dislocated thumb, 3 weeks in a row has shown, 2 weeks in a row has shown his ability to pass the ball. Not really running it that much, but he's getting the connection between him and DJ Moore's looking good. Best QBR, 5 touchdowns, this and that. With the number 1 overall pick in the draft, Bears have it. Do they get Caleb Williams? And then, secondly, does Caleb Williams even want to come to the Bears? He'll make more in college as a USC quarterback. He said it himself. I have 5 teams I want to play for, allegedly, right? Allegedly, the Giants, the 49ers, the Cowboys, all guys with quarterbacks, except maybe the Giants, but they already paid their guy. What do you go there? What do you do there if you're the Bears organization? Do you still believe in Justin Fields?
Obviously we still have, technically we still have 2 years left with Justin Fields with his contract, right? With 4-year and with the 5th-year option, right? Mm-hmm. To answer your question earlier, Darnell Mooney, he's actually a free agent after this year. So next year he's an unrestricted free agent. Third thing, Tony over here, he said he's so mad 31 and you want to pass. He actually went to the game on Sunday. He went to the game yesterday.
So he's got the inside scoop there.
He got the inside scoop. So he actually saw everything firsthand, bigger picture than all of us than what we did on TV, correct, right? So I don't want to get into this Caleb Williams discussion. Plus, by the way, I think I already have my analysis on Caleb Williams after what I saw this weekend against Notre Dame. Yeah. So
looked rough. Looked like he had a rough time.
And he's been having a rough couple of weeks, my friend.
Yeah.
Granted, whatever you want to say, and I know that's everybody's biggest thing, right? You grab Caleb Williams, you grab Marvin Harrison Jr., you trade away Justin Fields, you do this, you start all over, bang, bang, boom, boom, whatever, right? That's not the problem. The quarterback's not the problem. Mm-hmm. Wide receiver is not the problem. The problem is we still need to find offensive linemen, and we still need to find a defensive lineman too as well to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
You get all these skills position players all you want. That's fine. But you still need to build within, and that's in the trenches on the defense and the offensive side of the ball, man. That's it. Mm-hmm. Okay, this whole Caleb Williams situation, 5 teams, making more money in college, so on and so forth. Great sponsorships. He's not going to get in college. He's just getting the NIL deal. And here, when he comes to the NFL, he gets his contract, and then whatever the sponsors he goes with, they're going to give him 2. He already has the exposure in college, so the money's going to be even more than when he gets in here into the NFL than he does in college, right? Certain percentage, right? A coaching staff. Mm-hmm. That's another thing too, as well. Yeah. Right. I think today, what? October 16th, Monday. Week 5 is still available. I think you and I, and probably 98, maybe even 99% of the Chicago Bears fan base are probably going to be in agreement that this is going to be Matt Eberflus's last year, right?
These absolutely should be.
Okay,
absolutely.
Cool. Again, we probably 99.9%, maybe even lower than that, 98.9% believe this is Luke Getsy's last year as an offensive coordinator, correct?
100%. I think so.
Okay, cool. This is the damning part of it all. And if you trade Justin Fields because of this situation and starting brand new, okay, cool. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to, it's neither here nor there, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to give Justin Fields another offensive coordinator, another
Yeah.
head coach
Yep.
in his 4 years. This is going to be his third head coaching offensive coordinator regime in 4 years that he's going to be in. And I get that that's going to be, but this guy, like I told you how we started the show, I seen a confidence in Justin Fields. The moment he gets hit, he's rattled and it's all over.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it because I see something in Justin Fields that if he's in a right system, he's going to flourish. I didn't see that with Mitch. It was already too late with Jay. I see something in Justin Fields, but at the end of the day, you gotta realize, you gotta be a realist most of the time. You got number one, number two picks, probably number one, number three, number two, number three, whatever the case may be. You're gonna have 2 high picks in the upcoming draft. You still need help on the offensive line, bro.
Yeah.
You still need to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's where you build your team, and you already have a quarterback for that's NFL experience, ready to go. I'm not ready for this conversation yet, but I'm at the moment, man. I'm in for not trading Justin Fields.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where I've said it on the show time after time after time. I want Justin Fields to succeed.
This is actually better, by the way.
Oh, Corona, absolutely, 100%.
This is better than the yeah.
But it's true. You bring up a great point. So does Tony in the comments. A coaching staff. This would be, if Justin Fields is off the table, he's coming in the preseason, going to the next offseason, going to the next season as the starting quarterback of the Bears. Before the trade, whatever that it may be, you're going to give him his third head coach. You're going to give him his third offensive coordinator. You're going to give him just a brand new, possibly a brand new scheme, because obviously offensive coordinators and head coaches are going to be bringing different schemes. And on top
100%.
of that, is his head coach going to be an offensive coordinator? He better fucking be George fucking Cheapski. He better fucking be an offensive coordinator.
I'll give you this, Rick. I'll argue with one of this right here, and this is a perfect example. The Texans, who they got as their head coach?
Yeah, DeMeco Ryans, defensive guy.
Okay, and how's the Texans doing offensively?
Not bad with a fucking
bro. It doesn't matter if it's
rookie.
an offensive coordinator or offensive head coach or a defensive head coach, bro. The important thing is that the head coach needs to know what the hell he's doing. Everything else, having an offensive-minded head coach, and I see it, McVay, Shanahan. I see it. I get it. I understand it. But then I also see, and then Brian Daboll. But then I also see Mike Tomlin, DeMeco Ryan, hell, even far back as John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh. Is it John or Jim? Which is the Raiders?
John is the
right?
Ravens. Jim is the 49ers. Yeah. Current Michigan.
Even Jim, when he was here, bro, they weren't they were head coaches. They didn't call no plays. They were just strictly head coaching, and then everybody else does their job. As long as you have the right person at the helm, everything else is secondary, but they better be up to par for what your head coach is doing, bro. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. Just get it right. That's the one thing that I'm asking for, bro.
Yeah.
Get it fucking right. Just get it right. Like this, I've been, man, I don't even know how long. I've been a Bears fan all my life. I'm gonna just say all my life because I can't even go as far back as I can remember, bro. I'm telling you this right now. Tony has a few years ahead of me, bro. So he's been longer than that. But they've never gotten it right. They need to get it right. And that's all I have to say. Just get it right. Just get it right. I don't care who it is. Defensive minded, offensive minded. Get it fucking right.
So I will say the only thing that I will probably disagree with is I would prefer an offensive coach. Why? Because you look at the offensive coaches in the playoffs, or the head coaches in the playoffs, a majority of them, 90% of them, are probably offensive guys. All offensive guys. Right. Andy Reid in the Super Bowl last year, Nick Sirianni in the Super Bowl, Miami's Mike McDaniels, even Josh McDaniels for the Raiders, offensive guy. Because of Josh McDaniels, I'm not saying he was in the playoffs or going to be in the playoffs, but because of Josh McDaniels, the Patriots had a multiple amount of Super Bowls as their offensive coordinator, right? A majority of them, and really the only one you can make an excuse for is McDermott for the Bills. But you see how they fuck up sometimes, man. Like sometimes it's like, damn, that's a dumb decision. Regardless,
I think they messed up because of coaching decisions from the offensive coordinator, because that's not his side of the ball. You know that.
Yeah, no, it's not his
I'm
at
not
all.
saying that. Maybe I'm sorry. It's the quarterback that's there that kind of makes those decisions.
Yeah, for the most part, I guess you would say, yeah, and you're right. If a coach is not the one making the decisions as far as offense and just coaching, then yes, you need that offensive coordinator guy actually calling the plays. But I think with an offensive guy, you've got 2-3 great minds, really, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback all working on the same thing at the same time, instead of just two guys, with the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. We've seen that fall apart really, really badly. We've seen that just fall apart. So that's kind of why, for me, a guy who understands the offense, who could even call the plays as a head coach. Look at Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like, he's had some success this year. I just would prefer someone on the offensive side to maybe be able to not only make those decisions on the play calling, but be able to see the game too in a situational, I guess, mindset, and be able to say, let's run it here. Let's not do a shotgun on 3rd and 3 and run the fucking ball up the gut. Yeah, maybe that's a good decision, instead of maybe under center or something like that. That would probably be a good decision, right, head coach? Yeah, that would. Not offensive coordinator calling the fucking plays, right? So for me, again, it's going to be tough for Justin Fields if he comes into next season with a third head coach, third offensive coordinator, third brand new staff, really, when you look at it.
Yeah, and the dude that's already broken.
And
you got to admit it, man. Yeah. Nagy screwed him over. We could go as far back as Nagy. That game against Cleveland, he almost died. I think that's what kind of messed up his mindset of if he cannot be an NFL quarterback.
And you can go as far back as Nagy. I just don't think he's shown, really good pocket awareness. He's shown he can get out of the pocket. He's shown he can run. It's just like, dude, like, we got to let him loose sometimes. Like, we were clamoring for him to pass last year, but not actually really clamoring because he was making crazy plays with his legs. Yeah. We were just like, hey, maybe don't get your boy hit and then, lose us a franchise quarterback, franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And then they come to this year and they're like, pass. Justin Fields can run. Yeah, that's cool. We're going to pass the ball because that's what you want. It's like, no, we wanted him to get hit less and run a little bit less, but not absolutely just take
it away from him.
Yeah, make him a Peyton Manning. Like, we know he's not a Peyton Manning. This guy is an athlete. He's a Lamar Jackson type. But as far as the draft, man, it's going to be tough because, yes, trenches. You win on the defensive side if you can get pressure on the opposing quarterback, and you win if you could protect your quarterback. And look, when you get protection, even Justin Fields, when he holds the ball on for more than 4 seconds, his completion percentage and his decision making just drops like ridiculous amounts. You saw how fast he was getting the ball out against the Commanders. That may have been something as well there with, like you said, they're only rushing their 4 guys up front. But again, these guys, Darnell Wright was getting beat one-on-one.
He was.
Whitehair couldn't snap the ball, and with that was getting beat one-on-one too. Like, these guys are getting beat.
Was getting beat one-on-one, held their double teams on one player, just got screwed. It was just an overall mess up from the offensive line and just offensively in general on Sunday.
And you look at guys like Trent Williams and Penei Sewell, and you're like, look, these aren't sexy, awesome picks for, first rounders, second rounders, whatever they may be. But Darnell Wright is probably going to be one of the best linemen the Bears have in the future. And they what was he, a number 8? 9 overall?
9,
something like that?
He was 9.
Yeah, after they traded back, however many spots they traded back, he's probably going to be one of the better linemen for the Bears.
I mean, if Tevin Jenkins stays healthy, bro, I think he has a case for that one.
That's another one. And they wasted, I'm not going to say wasted, they spent a first or second round pick on him as well, Tevin Jenkins. Something like that, right?
Something screams out first. I'll look at it again. Hold on.
Yeah, for sure. And Tevin Jenkins, got is getting bit by the injury bug with, it screams Gabe Karimi and whoever the guy was, the first rounder offensive tackle.
Gabe Karimi was ass, bro. He was ass.
But man, out of college, he was this fucking guy that was going to be Joe John, what was his name? Joe from Cleveland. He's a Hall of Famer now. whatever his name is, the Cleveland Hall of Fame
I know
lineman.
exactly who you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, they drafted him and Quinn, Brady Quinn, this like 1 and 2. But
Joe
yeah,
Thomas.
Joe Thomas, there we go, Joe Thomas, right? Like Abe Creamy's gonna be this guy. He could jump out of a pool or whatever the fuck the hype was 10 years ago. But yeah, man, it's not sexy picks. It's not something you get too excited about because I'm sure a lot of us are looking at Jalen Carter right now and be like, damn, that would be really nice having this Bears defensive front. But we're also looking at if we got him and Darnell Wright was gone 2-3 picks later, who would we have in his spot? You know, and with the injuries, who would we really have in his spot? Like, so you're building, and Poles has said this, you want these athletic, big linemen to block. The run blocking they got down. These motherfuckers are athletic 100%. To get downfield for running.
Mm-hmm.
What you need is the
pass blocking.
Not the athleticism, but the pass blocking, the technique to be able to do this effectively. And shit, get Blasingame in there to be an extra blocker when you know a team like the Vikings, and you said it earlier, they just could not adjust. Get a motherfucker back there to help Justin Fields out to throw the ball, to get him some time to throw the ball. So, not sexy picks whatsoever, but completely understand.
I see this comment, Tony, and all I see is a Super Bowl ring in between there with a few NFC title, championship games in between there.
Yeah,
so,
Tony. At least you got to see that.
Quit rubbing it in, bro. I told you you're a few years older than me, man. So just stop, bro. Just stop.
At least you got to see the championship, Tony. Like, God damn it, that's all I want. Man. That's all I want.
All I
got my
was
Cubs. The Cubs we got that. That one was sweet. That one was mwah, perfect.
I promise you, I've always said this, and I'm gonna continue to say this, that the only team that can eclipse what the Cubs did, the only team that can eclipse what they did is the Bears. The Bulls won't have that effect. The White Sox won't have that effect. The Blackhawks won't have that effect. It's only the Bears that will eclipse what the Cubs did in 2016 as people in the crowd for that parade.
I agree. I 100% agree. As someone who was able to see the Blackhawks dynasty, the Sox win one, the Cubs finally win it in 2016. Like, the Bears will probably be better than the Cubs for the city, for the entirety of the city.
100%.
For me, I don't know. Cubs and Bears will be up there.
Nah, bro. I get where you're coming from, bro.
I'm such a Cubs fan. I'm a huge Cubs fan.
So am I. I'm right there with you. But the Bears were just over the moon. Like, what was it? Like 1 million people or something like that for the Cubs parade?
Yeah,
I was there. Like I should know, right?
Yeah. Eric took off work. He's like, I'm sick.
They might. No, not even, bro. I used the excuse because I was at school for Illinois Media School at that time. So I was like, let me get some hours in recording this and put it as my video demo, right?
Oh,
so
you lucky son of a bitch.
Bro, I didn't get no equipment, bro. I just went straight for it, recorded it on my phone, and called it a day. That's what I did, man. But it was a fun experience, man. It was a great time. But I think they were like double it. Like, I think it would be like 2.5 million people. I'm talking about, bro, you got Sox fans, Blackhawks fans, Bulls fans, as Bears fans too as well.
Everyone's a Bears fan. Everyone.
Yeah, bro. It would be. I think we'll freeze our asses for that fucking parade, bro. 100%. Like, we'll stand there for like 2 hours just to see them pass by for 10 seconds, bro. Yeah. But yet we'll still be there, dude.
Oh,
like that's how I know it'll be crazy.
Yeah. Tony's saying the Bears parade was 5 degrees downtown. Tony, stop! You're making me jealous.
Hand warmers, multiple clothes, like big puffer jackets, 2 or 3 hot chocolates or coffee, whatever to stay warm, bro. I'll do it. Trust me, I will. I'll get pneumonia just to see that happen, bro. I promise you.
That'll be my dying wish. I just fucking just roll me out there, and I'm like, sick.
For real, man. All I got is 1 Super Bowl appearance, 2 NFC title appearance, and disappointment from then on out. Tony at least got the Super Bowl parade.
Yeah, we got to see, like, and the cool thing was Hester was there at the game, and I was like, man, even the Hester days were fun and exciting. Even after his rookie year, after the Super Bowl year, there were still some years sprinkled in there where I was like, damn, this team looks good. Hester was a wide receiver for a little bit. Like, it was insane.
That was an ugly experiment.
That was a bad one, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's funny though. You say Devin Hester was there, and for some odd forsaken reason, the special teams was amazing that game. Block field goal. Velus
Yes.
Jones
Yeah.
had decent returns, even
He
though
looked
one of them was
good.
called back. Had some decent returns coming back, bro. Like,
Punt returns.
yeah. It's weird that you said that Devin Hester was there, and all of a sudden, like, special teams just turned it up a little bit.
I did notice myself being like, there we go. We got some returns going. There we go. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. Like you felt excited.
it was
Bro,
nice.
we talk about this and everything was perfect. Like the head coach called a great game on defense. The defense was good. Special team was great. It's just the offensive side of the ball was just a big limp, bro. Like
Do you think
it was just disappointing, bro. It was
Yeah.
disappointing. This had a W written all over it.
It did. It did. And do you think, though, had Justin Fields not dislocated his thumb, had the offense been able to do what it was doing, even with Bajan coming in, do you think that they still score a touchdown and that they get close? Do you think that fumble ever happens? Do you think they win the game with Justin Fields still in it?
I don't know, man. That's the $1 million question, right? Because
Yep.
as I'm looking at it as a whole, how the offense was just going throughout the whole entire day, it's hard for me to say yes. And as positive as I want to be, bro, as positive as I want to stay, the way that the offense was going and humming and doing, I don't know, man. I don't know if Justin Fields could have grown in that game the way Tyson, Badgett, kind of sort of went down the field, right? Outside of the, strap sack, the fumble, the strip sack, and the interception. I don't know, man. It's tough, man. That Bears offense yesterday just looked. It just looked bad. It looked bad. I don't know.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking of this myself. Like, one, would they have gone down the field and that Badgett rushing touchdown, right? The little QB sneak into the end zone, which was a little shaky there. You saw that and you're like, oh shit, was that in? They called it in eventually. It was a touchdown. Is what it is, right? With Justin Fields and with what was happening, all the pressure that was happening to with him on the field, that it seemed to change because either Bajan was getting the ball out quicker or the Vikings were doing something different on offense. Regardless, I think if Fields would have been on the field for that second half of that game, I think we win 20-19 at least. At least. We might even have won 20-13, whatever it was, 20-12, whatever the score was before the fumble 6.
And it's funny you mentioned that too, because again on Thursday I said that the Bears were going to win 19-17 or something like that. Look how close I was, right? The opposite way.
And I had predicted the Bears to win too. I predicted them to lose against the Commanders, and they do the opposite. I should have just fucking predicted them to lose.
Yeah, no, and I like what Tony said here. He says the backup did good. They were clicking good. They drove the ball good, and the Vikings fans were pretty quiet. And he said no. I think he said no. I think if Justin Fields stayed in the game, he doesn't think that they make that comeback. I honestly, like, if you want my honest opinion, I'm like with Tony. I'm like honestly leaning like 52-48. No, right? And the only reason why it's that, I guess, low or that high, depending on how you want to see it, from the 52%, where I feel like Justin Fields wasn't going to go down and win it, is because you saw it throughout the whole entire game, bro. Like they struggled. They struggled going down. They struggled to score points. I mean, hell, I had Cairo Santos in one of my fantasy leagues, but I mean, that's cool that I have it. But at the end of the day, I don't care if Cairo Santos just only gives me field goals from touchdowns. I'm okay with that as long as the Bears fucking win. But like the more that they struggled, the less confident I was in the Bears and actually getting the W and a result and winning the game, dude. Like, and even if Justin Fields was there, I probably didn't have that much confidence in the Bears coming back and winning, even if that strip sack return for a touchdown would have happened.
Yeah, and it's obviously tough to predict that. Obviously, nobody could say
100%.
whether or not it's going to happen. The only thing is, we did bring in Bajan, and they still lost. And it was on a bad throw in the end zone or towards the end zone that got intercepted and basically sealed the game, right? So I still think we're in a better position to win with Fields out there, because who knows what would have happened after that second half offensive drive they had, right? Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah.
But I still think we have a better shot with Fields out there. You saw what he did the last 2 games, and I just think we have a better shot. But
Yeah.
It does start with being able to adjust to the Vikings blitzing, to the run game. It took fucking Getsy 3 quarters to realize that the run game was the best part of the fucking offense. And yet, like, he didn't do it until the fourth. He's like, oh, yeah, I guess the run game is pretty good. It's like, no shit. You know? So why not do that more? Instead of trying to fucking force the ball down and making Justin run all over the goddamn field trying to not get sacked. And so I know with Bagent they lost. I don't know if Fields they would have won, but I know in my heart I think we're in a better shot to win that game with Fields on there.
No, and that's why I give it like a 52-48% because I know Justin Fields can be that guy to go down the field and probably even score a touchdown or two and, like, you know, put this game on his head and it's all over, right? That's why I give it such a very close percentage because, like, I know Justin Fields can do it, but as the game was looking, man, it was hard for me to be positive that the Bears could come around. Like, the game was close.
I get it, yeah.
All game, bro.
Hard to believe that,
It's just difficult. It was just difficult for me to say, yeah.
So, last question I got here. And it's a pretty simple one, but, you know, I'll preface it with this. The next few games, they got the Raiders, the Chargers, the Saints, and the Panthers. By the way, the Panthers game, Thursday Night Football, so battle of the number 1 overall pick in that game.
It doesn't make a difference anyway.
Doesn't make it doesn't really make a difference. Well, I said last week, I feel like with this Vikings win 2 in a row, that would have started something. But even given this schedule going forward, the Raiders look good, the Chargers still look good, the Saints have had ups and downs, but they still have a pretty good defense. Is the Bears season done? Is it over? Are we done shitting them? Like,
you don't even have to finish the question, bro. Like, it's over. It's over. I mean, a lot of people were claiming it was already over before they even won the Commanders game last week, right? I think this solidified it. I think now being 1-5, they solidified it. It's just you, right?
Yeah.
This team doesn't have a streak in them to win multiple games, right? This team does. Yeah. This team has a streak more of losing than winning. And even on top of that, dude, it's hard for them to even mount a comeback as big and as monumental as being them 1-5, bro. Like it is what it is. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, I have the same sentiments, right? Like, I thought, no matter which way you spun it, after that win last week, Bears fans were hopeful. I knew I was hopeful. Like I said, I was one guy who, before that Commanders game, I was like, oh, they're gonna go 1-5. Season over. They won in a very convincing fashion. And I thought, okay, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Chargers, that one might be iffy, but the Vikings and the Raiders, those are very winnable games. You mix into the fact that Justin Jefferson was out for the Vikings and they were able to do what they did on defense. Like, oh man, that was even better. The hopes were higher. And I thought, okay, maybe Eberflus and Getsy are finally getting it. We're looking at midseason form from last year when they beat the Patriots and they went on this ridiculous offensive run. But they needed this win against the Vikings. I think 1-5, last in the division. Vikings at 2-5. They needed this win against the Vikings. The Raiders again now look tough, but Jimmy G has kind of also been up and down hurt.
Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams.
What's that?
I think they already ruled Jimmy G out.
Okay, so they ruled him out then. And like I said, like, he's been up and down with concussion protocol and now an injury out, right? So I was really looking at these next 2 games, the Raiders and the Vikings, and being like, okay, these 2 games might be one of the most important games, because then you go into, I believe it's a Sunday night football game against the Chargers, and you're able to get a win out of that. If you're able to squeak even just a close game win, you're 4-4 now, right? Looking at a 500 record, you're going into the games against the Saints and now the Panthers. Hey, worst comes to worst, you split those games because you know you're going to get a win against the Panthers. Maybe not even know that, but it's looking good. You're looking at a 5-5. You still might be in a conversation there. Yeah. But who knows what the NFC was going to be there. Was going to be how that whole playoff picture is going to look going into week 11. Mm-hmm. But now the Bears at 1-5, they lose against the Vikings in a game they didn't have their number 1 wide receiver, probably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You go into a game where Max Crosby is looking like an absolute beast with the Raiders, where Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers is having a resurrection of a career. They still have Josh Jacobs there. Then you go against the Chargers, who right now are 7-7. tied against the Cowboys. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, this defense with Khalil Mack, by the way, a little revenge game coming up for Khalil Mack, who's looked like an absolute beast. Now it's looking like, never mind. Why did I get excited? Who gives a shit? The Bears are fucked, right? Like, who cares now? The Bears are going to be garbage because, like you said, they have a better – they lose better than they win. They're more consistent losing than they are consistent in winning.
Yeah.
So I had hope going into this Vikings game, and they needed this win to even have more hope. But that's it.
Hell, even the week before last, like against the Broncos, bro, that should have been a win right there. Like the Bears should be. What is it? 3-3 at the very worst.
If they win this game, they win that Broncos game 3-3, you're going into a Raiders game that's very important.
At a very high confidence, bro. But they're 1-5 for a reason, and I think this year they're 1-5 because coaching is inept. At least on the offensive side of the ball, coaching was inept. On the defense side of the ball, especially that debacle that happened early in the season with what's his name, the defensive coordinator. And now that with the head coach calling with Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus is coaching for his life right now.
Yeah.
And anything you could say, like, hell, look, the defense side of the ball has been pretty okay, right, since I've taken over. It's just the offense side of the ball that hasn't been holding up their end of the stick. And I think Matt Eberflus can be maybe coaching for him to stay one more year, you know. But I think at the end of the day, it's a result-based business. And if you are 1-16, 2-14 at the very worst, or 2-15, whatever the case may be, whatever season games we have already, because I mean, no matter what, I think we're still counting that the Panthers game is still a win for the Bears, and that's the next time that we possibly can see the Bears being or possibly getting a win.
Yep.
Right. Because we're not seeing it next week against the Raiders. We're definitely maybe not seeing it against the Chargers and the Saints on the road. So it's kind of like, at very worst, they can be 2-15.
And that would give Eberflus, right now he's 4-19 as a head coach.
Yeah.
2 more wins, you're looking at 6 and what?
I don't know. I lost count already, man. Don't even add.
More games.
What is it? 29 or something like that? Depending if they end like that. 6-27 or something.
6-27, 6-28.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that? How do you do that in 2 seasons as a head coach with an athlete in Justin Fields? And yes, the defense, you gave up Roquan, you gave up Robert Quinn, which Robert Quinn I feel like was meh. But you gave up Roquan, probably the heart and soul of that defense. Khalil Mack.
You let Hakeem Hicks go.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's a rough way to say, can I keep my job next year? It's like, no, you can't keep your fucking job.
But I think if he doesn't keep his job, though, and if he's still having these type of performances on defense where they're looking somewhat better or somewhat inept, he still can get a defensive coordinator job somewhere else. So he's only coaching for himself, prideful and statistics that to a point where it's just like, look, my defense works. You give me the right defense, I can compete. Whatever happened when I was a head coach happened when I was a head coach. It didn't work out, but at least my defense was up there. And that's at least something that he can have where he can still have somewhat of a successful, or not successful, a decent career in the NFL as a coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys all over the NFL right now. Vance Joseph for the Broncos, Schwartz for the Browns, Jack Del Rio for I forget the Commanders, I believe. You got these former head coaches going to coordinator positions, and they should. Not only do they have that experience as coordinators prior to being head coaches, but they got head coaching experience too. You like a guy to be able to make a decision, with kind of scrutiny, I guess. But for me, I think he might have the rest of the year. There was a lot of rumors about Washington Commanders. You got to win this one. Even if his defense puts up these types of performances, is he out if they lose against the Panthers?
Oh, Man, if they lose against the Panthers, I think there's
That's
no
it.
doubt. I
That's
think
it.
that's it.
You lose
But
against the
also at the same time,
Panthers.
like who? Again, we I think we talked about this last week or a couple weeks ago, bro. Like if you fire him again, you're replacing two people. You're not replacing one. You're replacing two positions as a head coach and a defensive coordinator. So like it doesn't make sense letting him go as much as we want to, as much as we
Hmm.
want to let him go or let him leave or fire him because he hasn't done whatever a head coach is supposed to do. You got to remember, man, you're firing two positions at once. It's
Yeah.
not smart for them to do that midway throughout the season. Maybe probably towards the tail end when there's like the last 2-3 games of the season. Okay, but you're talking about the Panthers game where there's still a good chunk of the NFL season left to be played, no matter how over the season is. And that's a lot of games left, and you're still not even into your bye by then, dude. Like it's
It's not till week 13 or 14, I
exactly
think.
so it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense firing him within the next 3-4 weeks
Mm.
when you still have like a whole month and the week left of the season. Like it doesn't make any sense firing him right now or at all. Period until the late December.
Dude, if he loses against the Panthers, though, that looks
I mean,
bad.
again, Rick, what difference does it make if we lose against the Panthers or we beat the Panthers? At the end of the day, we're still going to have the number one pick in 2 or 3 at that point.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter because all that matters is the Bears' number one pick via Panthers or the Bears' number one pick. And that's it. Like, it
Yeah.
makes no difference. Like,
I just think it's what the losses have accumulated to so far. It's just that last year was one of the worst head coaching jobs
yeah, but
in
that
Bears
was written for them.
history.
Yeah, but Rick, that was already written for them, bro. Like, that was the plan.
And
That
I
was the
think so
ideal
too.
plan for the Bears.
I think again, I've said this before on multiple shows, even last year in the middle of the season. I think Poles was like, dude, we need the number one overall pick.
Yeah,
You
we
need
do.
to fuck this up. You need to fuck this up, Getsy, because next year we're going to be loaded. We're going to
Exactly.
be loaded, and that's what they tried to do. And yet, look at what's going on. 1-5, 1-5. The pieces didn't really fit to start the season. I'll give them that. But 1-5, you lost against the Packers that bad in week 1. You lost against a terrible Broncos team. You lost against Baker Mayfield, who's on his 3rd team or 4th team in 6 years.
Hey man, I hate to say this, but Baker's looking real good in Tampa, bro. I don't think that one. I don't think that
This
one's an
week. Not
anomaly.
this week. He looked like absolute dog shit this week.
Yeah,
But
well,
what I'm
yeah.
saying is like these losses accumulating
No,
the
I
way
hear
they
you.
have been against the teams that they've been playing against the fucking just the competition. It's hard to win in the NFL. I get that, but wow, at the clip Eberflus is going, he might have 5-6 wins at the end of his coaching career with the Bears. And if they give him a third, maybe 9. Maybe. But who knows, man? For me, it's like if you lose against the Panthers, that is a low that we have not been to as Bears fans. We have seen some lows. We've seen Nagy. We've seen
Trust
I
me.
keep forgetting that one offensive guy from the CFL's name. Not
Trust me.
Emery.
Mark Trestman.
Trestman, yeah, you said it. Okay,
Trestman.
I didn't hear it. Trestman, we've been through those. We've been through John Fox, which, I mean, John Fox was, as a head coach, not great, but I feel like he knew how to look
He
out.
handled the locker room very well, and he cleaned up Trestman's mess pretty well.
He did, and I think he had an eye for talent. But I just, dude, with Eberflus and this staff right now, Getsy again looked like a great hire when we made it because we needed someone with a great offensive mind. And you picked the guy who was the quarterback's coach for Aaron Rodgers. You think he was going to do something, and then you're like, shit. And it all goes back to what you said earlier. I just want one of these things to be a correct thing. I just want one of these things to go right for the Bears. And yet, we're just discovering new rock bottoms. Like, we're excavating through the rock and getting to another rock below that rock and being like, hey, there we go, another rock bottom. Perfect.
Another rock bottom. Look at that. I mean, at the end of the day, we know where this falls at. We know whose fault is this, that the way that the Bears are, and we all
Yeah.
know it. I don't think that's a secret. I think everybody's starting to see it and understand it, that it's an organizational failure from the very, very top.
Yeah.
As this is what happens when you hire the head coach before you hire your GM.
Before you hire your president and CEO.
before you hire even your president and that's because the dude didn't want to give up his spot, and everybody was already calling his head for the last 5 years. But then when the national media gets word of how bad the Chicago Bears are, they start making moves or they start doing something that they're not used to or they're not comfortable with. Again, the Bears work ass backwards, bro. We've been saying it for years. We've been saying it for however long the JCA Sports Podcast has been on. I don't know how long you guys been on, Star 6 Media or, Crack One Media, but we've been saying it for a while, man. This organization works ass backwards, and we only see once we see a very good season like we did in 2018, bro, we ride it because we don't know when's the next time we're going to see something like that again.
And who knows, not only when the next great season like 2018 was, but the next consistent 5, 6, 7 seasons will be for the Bears.
Yeah.
Because right now, as a Bears fan, and you everyone here knows, we don't know what the fuck that's like. We have zero idea. 2006 was a Super Bowl year. We finished third in the division, last in the division in 2007. Yeah. We had a bad year that year.
Yeah, we had that Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, and we didn't get good again until we got Cutler. And even Cutler, we were riding highs, getting to the NFC Championship, and then what happened after that? Nothing.
Last place.
2 head coaches. Until Nagy won Coach of the Year, and we had that 18 year. And I feel like Dable in New York with the Giants is doing the same exact thing. It's happening.
Bro, that Coach of the Year should have gone to Vic Fangio, but that's another conversation for another day.
Bald guys with beards, bald white guys with beards as head coach is not having great success here in this last decade or so. Yeah, the Bear season is over. I'm sure everyone agrees. I'm sure a lot of people
100%.
are just, we're just mad about it, and understandably so. Did you have anything else on the Bears before we get out of here,
Eric? Part of me wants to choose them to win on Sunday. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It's that toxic in me of being a Bears fan, bro. Even with
I fucking hate you.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be. I mean, I got here till Wednesday for the JCA Sports Podcast to actually make up a decision. But again, bro, like it's that toxic in me where I feel like the Bears could come up with a win. Bro, the Bears haven't won in over a year at Soldier Field, bro.
At home, yeah.
At home.
Isn't that crazy?
See, I want to be with Tony, man. We'll beat the Raiders. That's what he says. French baguette special.
French baguette special. My God. I don't know, man. I you know who we really need right now is Tony Football to be like, I told you. They weren't going to win this game.
His boy didn't even look good. The guy that he really claimed for had an ass. He's been having the 2 worst weeks
Bagent?
of his career in college, bro. Like I don't need it.
Oh yeah.
I don't need it. It's not about Caleb Williams, bro. Again, if you're that, I'm gonna say this.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to take it however you want. But if you're in that crowd to get Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams as your number 1, number 2 pick, you don't know football. I'm just gonna say it right there, right now. You do not know football whatsoever if you're talking about getting Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison as your number 1, number 2 pick. I'm just gonna say it out there.
And it's so tough because of the hype that these guys bring and because of like how you're saying you don't know football because again, you win in the trenches. You win on getting pressure
Rick.
On the quarterback, and you win by protecting your quarterback. Mm-hmm. Why do you think Brock Purdy's as good as he is? That offensive line for the 49ers is pretty fucking solid.
Although they had a tough time yesterday against the Browns, though.
Oh, they had a tough time. That they fucking did. I just, man, the skill players is like, yes, you want the name, you want this, but man, at the end of the day, when you got Joe Thomas going to the Hall of Fame, you look at it and you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, oh yeah, exactly. Penei Sewell is good. Oh yeah, Trent Williams is good. Oh wait, look, Darnell Wright for the Bears, he's a rookie, he's looking good. Tristan Wirfs, by the way, who got manhandled by Mack 3-4 years ago, is one of the best linemen in the NFL. Probably going to be a Hall of Famer. A little too early to tell, but one of the best linemen in the NFL in Tampa. So that's just science, and that's just facts.
Yeah.
You win on the offensive line, and you win on the defensive line with pressure.
Bro, there's gonna be many more Marvin Harrison Juniors coming out of colleges, probably the next year or the year after that. There's going to be the next generational quarterback in college after Caleb Williams, bro. Like honestly, like what you need to fix, what you need to fix is getting to the quarterback and protecting your quarterback.
Yep.
Again, if you say that you need Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison, don't talk to me. You don't know football. You don't. You don't.
And then
And John said it right here. He's like, he's going to tear his ACL if he joins the Bears. I mean,
because of his linemen, that's why.
it's one of those. It's just kind of like, yeah, right. What's the point? Like, what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah. Yep.
So again, I don't care. I mean, we have a quarterback. I still believe in Justin Fields. I still believe that this guy can play. I still believe if you give him the right protection, the right players around him, the right everything, I think he could succeed just like any other quarterback in the NFL. He's shown it in flashes. He hasn't shown it consistently, but he has shown that he can be. I have more faith in Justin Fields than I ever had in Mitchell Trubisky. I have more faith in Justin Fields than I had in Jay Cutler. I mean, I know this guy can play. I can see it with my own eyes. It's just whatever this man needs to go through because he's fragile because of what he's been through in the last 3 years as an NFL quarterback. I get it. PTSD. I think one of the sports talk radio hosts here in Chicago has been saying that he has PTSD, and I believe it because the moment you hit him one time early in the game, it's kind of over for the Chicago Bears in that offense unless if somehow he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep balling out.
Yeah. And I would agree, except Cutler. Man, Cutler we were leading the offense in fucking
I get it.
Production with him.
I get
you
it,
know
Rick.
what I mean? That was the best.
I get it,
offense
Rick.
we've
But
seen.
that's with Jay Cutler. You get it once. He's like what? He's like a leap year. You got it once every 4 years, bro. And it wasn't consistent enough. And yes, he's the Bears record holder for this and that and this and that because that's how bad the Bears have been in quarterback position. But again, we saw it every 4 years, every so often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, yeah, he's in the Bears record books for a reason. But there's a reason why he's in the Bears record books. The Bears can't find a quarterback. So
exactly.
I mean, take it however you want to take it, bro. Like, no disrespect to Jay Cutler. I mean, but also at the same time, it is what it is. That's basically, it is what it is.
And really, the only thing we got to look forward to right now as Chicago sports fans is Connor Bedard got his first goal in his second game. He got He got his first point in his first game. He got his first goal in his second. He did lose. If you saw the picture of him holding up his puck with his first goal, he did not look happy. You know that guy loves to win. He's gonna have a tough time, but he loves to win.
Hey man, I give it 2 more years before the Blackhawks kind of turn around, bro.
They are up 3-1 on the Maple Leafs. That would give them a 2-2 record, 2-1.
Yeah, 2-3.
They'd be 2-2 right now. If they beat the Maple Leafs, which they're looking like they're going to, they're going to be 2-2. And this is something that Jack said that they were probably going to go into the home opener on Saturday with 1 win. So they're going to go in with 2 wins. And who knows what's going to happen this next game before the home opener. They're going to go into it with at least 2 wins. So that's the only thing we have to look forward to. Obviously, if you see my Blackhawks championship flag in the back.
I see it.
We're trying to get at least 3 more, Connor. So that'd be fucking dope. At least give us something to talk about outside of the Bears sucking.
Make me a fan again, Connor.
Make me a fan again. And I'm also not in the right mind space yet to talk about the Bulls, but right now they're playing preseason. Kobe looks pretty good, apparently. Patrick Williams looks okay. Ayo had a sick dunk or a sick layup, whatever it was. That face means that he doesn't want to talk about Bulls and about how bad they're going to be this year.
110%.
But we won't do that because, like I said, I'm not in the mind space to even talk about basketball right now. So,
as you can see, you see my tagline, what it says right there, right?
Upset Chicago sports fan. Same.
Exactly.
All right.
Make me a bandwagon fan again, Connor. I'll give you that. I'll hop on that bandwagon. Trust me.
That's when
the moment that the Blackhawks get into the regular season, bro, I'll know as much hockey as Jack. I'll guarantee you that.
He'll actually start calling the actual regular season the regular season. Maybe. We'll see after the first championship. We'll see.
I mean, I did it once upon a time, so it's possible. It's possible.
But all right, Eric, thank you so much for joining me, talking about another just terrible Bears game. So thanks for joining me.
I know I
Appreciate
said
you.
it as a joke in my tweets and in my posts on Facebook talking about, all right, the Bears win one. They could lose another 10 straight after that. I didn't necessarily mean it,
He
guys,
was
okay?
kidding,
Just
guys.
putting it out there. I did not
He's
mean it
fucking
whatsoever.
around. God damn. But
Man,
all right.
it was a joke. It's a joke.
Thank you to John, Tony, and Bobby in the comments today. We appreciate you guys. Make sure to follow us at Star6 Media on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook, and on Twitter at _Star6 Media. You could follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at and now Rick. It's right there in my little bio. Right
That was
there,
a great
right there.
read on that banner going down there, Rick. I applaud you for that one, bro.
Absolutely. That's how I do it. So many years of practice. But go follow us. We're trying to get to 500 subs on YouTube. We're about 157 away. So
Nice.
if you could share this, follow us on all of them. But let's try to get that YouTube to a big 500. And we can bring you some more content for sure. And we're gonna keep bringing you content every week. Make sure to stick around for the only football live stream of Monday Night Football, and Wednesday we got JCA Sports Podcast talking Bears, predictions, and other sports. We will see you guys Wednesday. Eric, once again, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate
I gotcha.
you. All right, man. See ya.
See ya.